recently announced that Apple would be getting a new CEO. And here's what I can guarantee you. Sooner or later, people are going to start exiting the organization. Maybe you've heard by now that Tim Cook is stepping down as CEO of Apple, and that a new CEO, John Tarnas, is taking over. And whenever there's a major leadership transition, people start exiting the organization. Some because they're let go, and some because they choose to leave. And I don't know why we're ever surprised that this happens. We act surprised, but it happens almost every single time. And it's not because something is broken. It's because something has changed. And here's the reality. The reality is a new leader equals a new direction. And that's why you shouldn't keep the team that you inherit intact. I know it's a bit controversial. Some of you are now paying attention because I said that. It caught you off guard a little bit. But yeah, I'll say it again. You shouldn't keep the team you inherit intact. And it's not because people aren't talented. They are. But the context has changed. Again, the new direction. And we need to avoid asking some really terrible questions whenever there is a major transition. A bad question to ask is this a good team? That's a terrible question. A much more impactful question to ask is this the right team? Is this the right team for our new direction? Because when leadership changes, everything resets. No matter how much people say things are going to stay the same, everything resets. And as a part of that new direction, expectations change. They do. Standards change in some way or another. Priorities change. What mattered before might not matter in exactly the same way. And the pace of how quickly or how slowly we do our work, that also changes. And when these change, alignment needs to change as well, or alignment needs to be reevaluated. And that's why three things always happen when there is a major leadership shift, major leadership transition. Some people are fired. Some people choose because they look at the potential change in culture and maybe say that doesn't fit them anymore, or the change is too much for them to deal with, or they're looking for another opportunity. And some people just, they stay. Well, pretend like you can clearly see that I wrote the word stayed. Now, here's the part that we don't talk through enough. We talk about that leadership at the top, that C-suite transition. We talk about the team that's closest to the work that navigates this transition, but we don't always talk about the mid-level leader. I call this pressure zone. Because that pressure zone, it's tough. It's tough to live and lead in the pressure zone. And here's why. Leaders who lead in the middle, they hold everything together, but they don't make the decisions. They have to translate the change. They have to stabilize the team. They have to maintain performance, and they have to answer questions that they don't fully have the answers to yet. Like, what's happening? What's going on? Why are we doing it this way? And are we going to be okay? And that's not simple at all. That's pressure. Yep. The pressure zone. And you've seen it before. We had this conversation in a previous video about the Walt Disney Company and the transitions there. And they recently announced some some very important layoffs in key areas of the company. And I'm pretty sure sooner or later it's going to happen at Apple as well. Different leaders, different eras, different expectations. And every single time the team changes, not because people are less capable, but because context has changed and it's calling for a new direction. So here's the mistake. Here's the mistake that we can make as leaders sometimes. We tend to believe or tend to act like continuity equals being stable. Keeping everything the same will allow us to be stable. And that's not the case. Continuity does not equal stability. It's actually alignment. Alignment equals stability. And your job, our job as leaders, when transitions are happening, is to assess the state of the organization and assess the state of our people and ask who aligns with where we're going, who's willing to adapt, and who can grow into what's next. Because holding on to a team that no longer fits, that doesn't protect the culture. It actually erodes performance. Leadership transitions, like the ones we've seen at Disney and the one we're seeing now at Apple, don't just reshape organizations. Leadership transitions actually reveal what organizations are actually made of. They reveal who fits. They reveal who adapts. They reveal who moves on. It's not dysfunction. That's alignment at work. You don't inherit a team to maintain it. You inherit a team to align it. And alignment is what turns disruption into direction. So here's the question. Is your current team aligned with where you're going, or is it aligned with where you've been?